There are so many crazy settings on your Quest headset that you most likely are missing out on some awesome features. So that is why in this video, we are going to be talking about the 10 settings that you need to enable on day one for your Meta Quest 3 headset. And these will not only enhance your overall VR experience by a lot, but it will also unlock some new possibilities that you otherwise wouldn't have. So let's get right into it with the first one, which is the experimental settings that you can find in your basic menu, because these contain some of the coolest features that not many people know about yet, with one great example being the laying down mode, because this basically lets you use your headset while you're chilling on your couch or bed, making it perfect for you to watch movies or anime while you're just staying inside virtual reality. And a second one here that can come in quite helpful is the wrist meta button, because when you now switch to hand tracking, you will now see a little meta icon on your wrist, and if you click on it, it will automatically open and close your menu. But in general, it could be that you don't see some of these features here anymore, or they might have turned into a standard option for your Quest 3. So I recommend to check out these experimental settings every now and then, because Meta often adds some brand new features in here that can let you do some crazy stuff. But that gets us to the second thing that you want to make sure to change, and that is regarding your video recording, because you might notice that when you, for example, try to record some gameplay on your headset, that it will be saved in this weird square shape. Luckily, there's an easy fix for this. Now head back into the system tab and go for the camera option, because once you scroll down here, you will see the so-called aspect ratio, and when you click on it, you can choose to change this from the standard square to full HD landscape, or if you want to create reels and TikTok videos, then you also have the option for portrait mode. But that's not all, because here you can also increase the frame rate from the basic 30 FPS all the way up to 60, or the bitrate from the low 5 to a maximum of 20, and that will make your videos look a lot more higher quality than they did before. Of course, do keep in mind that when putting these settings up so high, it will mean that your files end up being a lot bigger in size. Oh, and a nice extra that has been added with an update here is that you can also change the audio levels from your game, as well as your own microphone. So if you want to make sure to capture all the sound of your gameplay, then you can turn your mic all the way to the left. While if you want to hear your voice more clearly, then you can easily tweak these to your own specific needs. But another important one that you need to know is when it comes to your controller settings. For this, go to your devices and then go to the controller tab. And here, you can change some stuff like the vibrations, as well as changing the thumbstick and meta button from left to right. But probably the most useful one is that you can remap all the buttons from your controller within this. So even if one thing breaks down or doesn't seem to work the way it should, then you can always change it up. And an extra fix is that you can also change the dead space of your thumbstick, which can be a great help if you're experiencing problems like stick drift, for example. Because in that case, you can just increase the area of the affected Touch Plus controller, and then your stick drift will be a thing of the past. But the fourth feature that you need to unlock is the quick settings menu. Now to enable it, go back and look for the movement tracking tab. Once in here, you want to find and turn on the option named Expand Quick Action. And after this, you will see a simple tutorial on how to use it, which basically boils down to just looking at your palm and pinching your thumb and index finger together to activate it. And this you will be actually using quite often if you quickly want to change some things up, like muting your microphone or starting a brand new recording. But it is because this feature is actually not enabled from the start that it becomes a must to unlock on day one. And that same goes for the fifth setting, which is to enable your automatic update option, because otherwise you might miss out on some new features that will be released in the future. So to do this, go in your settings to System and then to the tab named Software Update. Now here, you want to make sure that the first one is turned on, because this will directly get you the newest version whenever they become available. But another one that you want to enable here is the automatic power headset to update function, since this means that these will be installed whenever you turn off your headset completely, and that way you will always be up to date whenever you jump back into VR. But of course, you can also always choose to install them manually by clicking on the big button in the top right corner. However, when it is grayed out like you see right now, then it means that there are no updates available at the moment. But another setting that you should definitely directly change is when it comes to your boundary system. Because when you get too close to the border of your space, you will see this blue light grid that warns you of the limits of your play area. However, this border will show up so quickly even when you're pretty far away from your walls and furniture. However, there is an easy fix for this. So go to the tab named Physical Space, where you will see a slider for the room scale boundary sensitivity. And normally, this is most likely set somewhere in the middle between the left and the right. But when you put this all the way down, you will see that the blue grid will still show up when you're too close to the border, but it will show up much later, giving giving you a lot of extra place to play with. And if you want, you can also click on the advanced option, which will give you some extra stuff to tweak regarding your setup. However, do keep in mind that you still want to be careful and not hit the people or stuff around you while you're inside virtual reality. Oh, and a little bonus is that you can also find your space setup here, which is an overview of your previous used areas that you can change and delete within here. But the next one that might help you out a lot is the battery saving mode, because one of the biggest downgrades of the Meta Quest 3 is that after only 2 hours of intense gameplay, your battery will be completely empty. But there are luckily some settings that we can change to improve this quite a lot. So to find them, go to System and then scroll all the way down until you see the Power tab, because here you will find the option named Battery Saver. Now once enabled, your headset will be instantly put in the so-called saving mode that should actually give you quite some extra time before it runs out. However, you will probably directly see that the screen brightness will also be turned lower, and that is far from optimal. So some other possibilities to improve this is to set your display off time to a maximum of 5 minutes or lower, as well as going to your quick settings menu to turn off your Wi-Fi and Bluetooth when you're not using them. But honestly, almost all of these have such big trade-offs that in most cases it is probably best to just go for a pro-like head strap that has a battery built into it. A great example of these that I use myself a lot is the one from Anna Pro, because this one lets you magnetically attach the battery to the back of your head strap, giving you another 2 hours of extra gameplay on a single charge. And it also means that you could technically take it up a level and switch out 2 batteries at all time, meaning you would never have to charge your headset ever again. Of course, besides just the battery, these head straps are also a nice upgrade in general over the soft dual band head strap that comes with the Quest 3 included. And that is also why these are one of the first upgrades that people make for their own VR headset. And of course, I will also leave a link for you guys for this one in the description below. But moving on, we have number 8, which is the accessibility function, since this one is not often talked about. And the cool thing is that in this tab, you can change the color of your headset display and even specifically tweak them to the different types of color blindness. But you can also do some other interesting things here, like changing up the text size if you have difficulties reading tiny letters, to even unlocking a very useful one, which is known as live captions, because this can turn basically any audio directly into subtitles right in front of your eyes. And that can be a big improvement for people who have hearing loss, or just as a great option to have in any case. But maybe the most overlooked feature of all is number 9, being your privacy settings, because so many Quest 3 users don't feel comfortable with sharing all their data with Meta. So if that's the case, then you can change this pretty easily. Just go to your privacy and safety tab and then look for the data and analytics, since this is where you can toggle on or off what exactly gets shared with Meta. But if you want to go even more in detail regarding things like your location, then you can also find and change this in the tab permission. Just click on whichever one you want and you can exactly see which application makes use of certain data or not. And that makes sure that you don't ever have to worry about sharing things that you don't really want. But while staying on the topic of overlooked options that can actually have a huge impact on your overall VR experience is when it comes to your virtual environments. Because if you want to change these, you just have to go to your personalization tab. And here you will see an overview of all the pre-installed versions that you can choose from. For example, right now, I am still in a very standard place, but I could switch this up to a Japanese house by just one click. Or I could maybe put myself on top of a mountain with nature all around me. However, while there are actually some cool options among these, there is actually also a way to get even more of them completely for free, as well as at the same time giving you access to some insane secret settings that can upgrade the graphics of your headset. And that can all be done thanks to something known as SideQuest. But to get this up and running on your Quest 3 can be quite tricky, so click on the video that you see on screen right now to make sure you don't miss out on this. And of course, stay awesome.